really cannot, your space period, you just cannot let everybody in your personal space period. Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see by the title, I'm gonna be talking about my weirdest / like most intense friendship ever. It's gonna be part 1, part 2, part 3 if it needs to be. So yeah, let's get right into the video, y'all. I first met this girl, I'm not gonna say her name, but I met her, this was October 2020. I had just started working at a new job and she was there to train me. And so I met her, like, and I usually, and it's crazy because I usually never like really make friends with my coworkers, but me and her just really seem to click. I usually just keep work as work, like, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? I might text you if you like, hey, do you wanna work? Like, if I want to pick up extra shift, I might text you, hey, do you want to work? I can take your shift, kind of like that. But other than that, I don't normally make friends with my coworkers. But me and her just clicked because we had such a similar background. Like, we had very, very similar backgrounds, and I really don't want to speak on that, at least not right now. But we had very similar backgrounds that made us click or whatever. We just clicked out of nowhere. So we met each other. You know, we were just talking. Like, I remember, like, the few days that, like, she was training me, that we were just talking like we already knew each other. We had so many similar interests and all that. We started to get very close with each other. We were on the phone all the time, whether it be FaceTime or just a regular phone call. We were talking on the phone all the time. We're getting very close with each other. And she had her own place. Well, her and her boyfriend lived together. And at the time, I was still at home or whatever. And, you know, I started to go over her house. You know what I'm saying? We was chilling, kicking it. We were smoking together. So one thing I started to notice with her and her boyfriend was that, of course, you know, they were having relationship issues. I mean, which we've all had them. So I was definitely not quick to judge on that. We all have had our relationship issues. So, but the problems they were having, I feel like they were very serious problems. Like, they just weren't just normal. They just weren't just simple problems, if that makes sense. So one thing that I realized was that for one, they were both in an open relationship. So they would say, okay, so, you know, y'all might have one of those friends or somebody that you know that's just like, oh, no, we're not together. But baby, if y'all living in the same house, y'all are still together. Like, there's no, we're not together, we're taking a break and none of that. If y'all still living in the same house, y'all are together. This is period. It's just what it is or whatever. And I realized that, and I did feel bad for her at one point, you know, because I've never, and one thing I will say, y'all, I've never been in an abusive relationship to where, like, somebody putting their hands on me. Like, I've never experienced that. So I don't want to come off as like, nah, all that was bullshit. No, like, I don't want to come off like that. Some of y'all may have been in domestic violence relationships, and that's not something that you take lightly. But anyway, yeah, I just had to throw that out there. So I remember she would call me crying. I literally remember her calling me crying, and I'm just like, I would feel very bad for her. Sometimes I would even hear them arguing over the phone, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's just like, I would give her the best advice I would know how to give her, but at the same time, it's just like, again, I've never been in domestic violence relationships, so I can't speak but so much on it. I feel like I couldn't give her but so much advice. I also remember her telling me that when they first moved in, so her name was the name that was on the lease. It wasn't her and her boyfriend. So I remember her telling me when her and her boyfriend was together, when she first moved into her place, that they weren't legally supposed to be living together because they had a little situation go on before to where they weren't supposed to be legally living together at the time. I'm just like, girl, why did you let him move in with you? You already knew that was a risk. And considering like how the way that he acts, you already knew that would have been a risk. And on top of the fact that, you know, y'all live together at the end of the day, y'all are living together. So going back to them being in an open relationship, what I call the open relationship is the fact that they both were talking to multiple people, a lot of people at the same time, which caused a bunch of tension, bunch of like unnecessary drama, which, you know, I went through the same thing with my current boyfriend at the time. So with what I've been through in relationships or what I've dealt with before, I'm not quick to judge another person if they're going through it. And especially, you know, when somebody seems like they're going through it worse than you, I definitely try not to just be like, you know, just dismiss it or whatever. I'm definitely the type of friend, you know, when you going through it with your man, I'm like, okay, girl, let's, you know what I'm saying, let's just hang out, let's smoke, let's, you know what I'm saying, let's chill, let's do something, let's go out. And so I remember, like I said, you know what I'm saying, come over, we kicking it, we laughing, we joking, we having, and I'm I don't know if y'all can say, I'm a very goofy person. I really like to laugh. So you around me, you gonna laugh, period. Like, even if my laughing annoys you, and I know my laughing annoy her, but even if my laughing annoys you, like, you gonna have a good time. We're talking about having friends, and I'm definitely, I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm definitely an introvert. I'm like very to myself. I don't really surround myself around a whole bunch of people. And she was just like, yeah, girl, I'm the same way. She was like, I don't deal with a bunch of people. I don't like dealing with a bunch of people because the more people literally does me more drama and more problems. She was just like, girl, I don't have time to deal with that. And she was like, especially if I invite you into my house, like, she said something like, oh, you're a special person, or I really like you as a person. Because she was like, I just don't be letting everybody in my space. Like, girl, I was like, girl, I know that's right. I know that's right. Like, you really cannot, your space, period. You just cannot let everybody in your personal space, period. So she went to the college that she went to. Of course, she actually she went off to school. I never went off to school. She went off to school. She had her friends, I had my friends. And I'm definitely the type of girl that's just like, okay, you're gonna have your set of people I hang around outside of me. I'm gonna have my set of people that I hang around, my few people that I hang around outside of you. I ever had one of those friends to where you realize that they say, oh, I don't hang around, or I don't deal with that many people. And then it's like every time you look up, or every week that you look up, oh, that's a new friend, that's a new person that just popped out of nowhere. So that's what I realized with her. It was just like new people just popping out of nowhere. And again, y'all, I don't just want to blame this whole situation on her, because it was me too. I was being irresponsible. We had such similar ways, as into just living life, period. How we lived our lives, period. There's never nothing wrong with meeting new people, making new friends. That's something I love to do. I love to meet new people all the time. And like I said, we would talk on the phone. Y'all girls, all the girls know how it is. We talk on the phone about our man. We talk on the phone about our friends. We talk on the phone about exes. We talk on the phone about our experiences at the nail salon, our experiences with the hairstylist, everything under the sun. The problems that we have with our families, toxic family members, especially, all that. And that's definitely one thing we talked about all the time, was just how both of our families are. And like, that's another way in how we got so close with each other. So my biggest thing with her was the fact, okay, let me give y'all some more background. I just don't want to make it seem like I'm just blaming everything on her. Like, one of our biggest, I think one of the other biggest things that made us click was the fact that how we grew up. So we were both bullied. We were both really bullied growing up, because we grew up as the big girls. And y'all remember the era, I think I touched on this on my weight loss video. Y'all remember the era to where back in the day, they didn't like the community. Yeah, I didn't want to say that out loud, but y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying. And within that same era, if you you already knowing this, they didn't like people that were overweight, people that were big. The world just completely shunned people that were big, people that were overweight. So, we grew up being bullied. We grew up on top of the fact that my family was the first to pick on me. And I believe it's the same thing with her. She said her family was the first to pick on her, call her names and stuff like that. So we just had so many similarities with our personalities. And I would consider her a twin. We would call each other twin. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's like the more aggressive one. I'm like the more calm, quiet, relaxed one, or whatever. He was a fighter. And the thing about me is I'm not a fighter. Like, I've never been in a serious fight. Like, yeah, I fought my cousins when I was a little girl, but like, I'm not talking about like a serious fight as long as I've been like an adult, as I've been older. Now, don't get me wrong, I got a little temper. I think everybody has a little temper. Like, people do be tempting you. People really do be trying you. They really will. They really, really will. I'm the type of person, I really do not like conflict. If I can avoid conflict, I will avoid conflict. So, she had her group of friends from school or whatever. And then one thing I realized that she would tell me, like, they would do a whole bunch of like all these malicious things to her. And then one thing I would realize is just like, okay, so how like you have a friend, y'all might get into like a little mini argument or whatever, and then y'all go back and talk about it. I'm like, okay, cool, what I'm saying, it's good, y'all talk about stuff and y'all are back friends, that's cool. But like, one thing I realized, that it was just very repetitious, and it's like it got more intense and more intense. One of her friends from school, she ended up allowing him to come into her house and stay with her. She told me, I remember me and her being on the phone, and she was just like, well, he want, because she's from up north. She was like, he wanted to come down here. You know, North Carolina's a lot cheaper. He wants to come down here, pretty much stack his bread, save his money, and, you know, just eventually he just needs a little bit of help. And I'm like, okay. But I'm just like, so you and your boyfriend are already having problems with both of y'all living together, and you're gonna bring somebody else into the house. I just knew that was gonna create problems. Like, I already knew, and that's exactly what happened. I remember her calling me. She was like, you know, nobody wants to clean, nobody wants to cook, nobody wants to walk the dog, but you know, if everybody always needs something. And I'm just like, girl, you can't do this. You can't just, you just can't be letting everybody come into your house. She was pretty much telling me, calling me, complaining about how all, you know, he'll sit around, you know, he'll just blow his money on food and weed. He'll sit around and smoke weed all day after he gets off of work. And he's having a situation with I think that was his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend at the time. He was having this little situation. And yeah, I'm just like, girl, you know what I'm saying? You gotta handle that. So the problems that her friend's ex-girlfriend or girlfriend at the time were having, I remember she called me on FaceTime. So somehow, some way she ends up getting ready to fight this girl. I remember, so she calls me on FaceTime, she's cooking, and then her friend is like over sitting on the couch or whatever, and her friend is on the phone with his girlfriend or whatever. And I remember her saying, oh, we gonna have to fight. You keep doing that shit again, we gonna have to fight. And she's talking to the other girl. And I'm just like, wait a second. So, girl, how are you about to fight her? And he's having these issues. But then again, it's just like, okay, well, somebody is living with you. It's just like, bro, this is too much, y'all. This is too much going on. And I'm just like, I was the type of friend, I would try and calm her down. I'm like, look, sis, you know, just try not to let it make you so angry. You know what I'm saying? You just can't go around fighting everybody. None of my other friends are fighters. Like, if me or my other friends, if we were to fight, it would have to be, and I mean a very serious situation. Some of y'all just go out, some of y'all go outside about nothing. At the time, I was going through a lot with my family that definitely I would have to make a whole separate video on. I was going through a lot with my family. So when she was going through what she was going through, it's just like I really could relate to it. Like I said, at the time I was still living at home, I could really relate to it as far as, like I said, the experiences I've had with people in the past as well, but especially like as far as dealing with family and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure y'all can tell I'm really not quick to judge, because everybody has a different story, everybody has a different background and everything, and everybody has just different life experiences. But y'all, I really hate to stop the story time right now. It's like 2:30 in the morning, y'all. I get off work really late, so I be recording early in the morning. So y'all, please stay tuned for part 2. And make sure you like, and make sure you comment, and make sure you subscribe. And let me know what y'all think in the comments, because y'all be liking the story times. But I actually, believe it or not, I have trouble, especially off camera, I have trouble explaining myself sometimes. I get very nervous. Like, y'all, I get so nervous that I overthink. I get so nervous that sometimes I'll start stuttering. Like, I can feel myself shaking in my own skin. So y'all let me know how I did. And y'all let me know what y'all think about the story time so far. And comment your similar experiences. I want to know if y'all had any similar experiences. All right, thank y'all so much for clicking back on this video. And thank you so much for supporting my channel. And I'll see y'all in part 2.